Hi, everyone. This is Raquel.
Hi, and this is Jennifer.
Welcome to Madness Cafe.
This is a feminist podcast where we talk about women's issues, politics, and health and wellness.
And where those issues intersect. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Madness Cafe. Today, Jennifer and I are joined by Gao Motsemme, and she is a mother of three who emerged from the ashes of betrayal and emotional turmoil. For years, she hid behind a mask of strength until life's greatest challenges, divorce, judicial injustice, and separation from her children, stripped her down to her core. Through these adversities, she discovered her true power and gifts as a Freedom Illuminator, human MRI, and psychic surgeon. Now she helps high achievers break free from generational trauma, embody emotional independence, and reclaim their spiritual and sexual sovereignty. Her work empowers individuals to thrive in the boardroom and ignite passion in their relationships. That sounds very interesting. We're so excited to talk to you about this, Gao. Thank you so much for being with us.
Oh my God, thanks for having me. I normally love to start with also extending my greetings to your audience, and I do that in my native language. So dumelang, lokai. And dumelang is the greetings in my native language where I come from. I come from Botswana in Southern Africa. And dumelang in direct translation is agree. What are you agreeing to? Why are you always showing up at Madness Cafe? So when I'm asking, what are you agreeing to? The thing is, we are always being penetrated by something. There is a lot of information out there. There is a lot of madness. There is a lot of noise out there. So you get to choose what is it that you are allowing within you. And Lokai is more, where are you? Locate yourself. Are you fully here with us? Body, mind, and soul, or part of you is still holding into shouldn't have been, wouldn't have been, couldn't have been, and all that. And my invite is just, how would it feel like to just let go? You know, you may come to that later and pick it all up, but choose to let go of all that. Take a deep breath and be here with us, because presence is everything. And I know there have been amazing experts here. And one thing that I know for sure is that there is a lot of information, and change does not happen in information. Transformation happens when we are present and being able to allow, as in like choose consciously what we are allowing in our space. So when we let go of knowing, we are open to the present moment, and whatever that is present with us is the wisdom that is around us. And we can learn something new, because when we come with the I know, then we are here in the mind. When I say breathe in and come back to the present moment, I'm inviting you to connect to the body, to the mind, to everything, every sensation, and allow your body to communicate rather than you telling the body what to feel. So the body is the main thing. You're going to listen to it. If you get triggered again, be present. We put in the chair for every part of us, the inner child, the shame, the guilt, all of us, like the aspects of ourselves, and saying, you are welcome to be seen in this now moment.
Wow.
I could just listen to you talk all day. Man. Wow.
Wow. That was a great way to start. And
I'm speechless.
I feel more present than I was a few minutes ago.
I feel like I'm in the presence of something greater than, do you know what I mean?
Seriously, I'm getting chills, because there's no truth that is higher than what you just said.
So tell us about you, a little bit about your story, and how you became who you are today. And I know that itself could probably take 8 hours, but give us a short version.
Yes, as Raquel just started to say, I emerged from the ashes of betrayal and emotional abuse and everything, but it's something that did not only start with relationships, as in like when I was older, it's something that I was born into. Ooh. We know that. What are we born into? I was born in that emotional turmoil, which was normal, because even right now, if my siblings have to hear me speaking some of the things, they'll be like, I don't know what you're talking about, because it was just normal, you know, but it was normal for others. It was not normal for me, because looking at what I do now, I became the absorber of everything that was happening. And I had moments where I couldn't hold it. And it would just erupt. And then I was called this crazy person. Going back to my childhood, I was called crazy. I was that child who was fighting to be me. I always told my mom when she said, "You are not like any of my children." And I say, that's why I have a different name, So it's one of the things that, yeah, it didn't really go along with the traditional family that I was born into. And going back again, I was always connected to something greater, which is what I loved. I was connected to that something greater. And when I shared what I shared with my family, they knew what was going on. But their first response was, you need to go to church. Make sure you go to church, get baptized and everything so that you don't become a traditional doctor. Okay.
Mm-mm.
I listened and I heard that and I went ahead and did, not necessarily baptized, but I did what they did, even going to church and stuff. But somewhere along the line, I just dropped out because it didn't align with the truth that somehow I knew from within, even though I didn't know where they were coming from. But a lot of the things I felt that bullshit. Like, I'm
Yeah.
getting out there and it's like bullshit. So
Mhm.
I had those arguments with whether it was pastors or whatever from since I was a child. So at the end, I was like, what's the point of going to church if at all I'm sitting there and I don't believe what is being shared? So I had
Yep.
my connection with Source, which even though it happened along the way, the whole pain of wanting to belong, I would say it took over. And I found myself in relationships that were more or less similar to what I was used to, where it's kind of like, be like this, don't be like that, and it's not only in romantic relationship, even at work. And I still remember talking about my connection with Source. I remember one guy at work who was my supervisor asking me, how do you really go to church? And I said, no, I don't go to church. But do you believe in God? I said, yeah, I have my own connection with God. But I don't know what is going on because something is not right, like meaning the relationship with me and my boss. But I just knew because so many things were revealed to me even before they happened.
Mhm.
But the breaking point or the awakening moment was when I lost my corporate job. Like I said, it was, I wore the mask and my identity was what I was doing. I was working in
Mm-hmm.
the big company. I was an accountant. Also being a mother, I've got 2 children. Those are the things that gave me an identity. And when I lost my corporate job and then my mom got sick and a year later died after I lost my job. And then shortly after, my ex-boyfriend, because we were not married, took me to court fighting for the custody of the children because I was already down, so he really found me the perfect moment when I was in my lowest. And
Mhm.
I walked in court still with my pride because I was like, it's an easy case. I was supporting these kids by myself. So what's the story here? But when I came out, it's kind of like, the fuck just happened.
Oh,
And
yeah.
13 years later, or whatever, I can't tell you what happened. But that was a defining moment where I felt the universe really took everything that I thought I was so that the real me can emerge. But I can't tell you that it was a walk in the park. It was
No.
very,
It never is.
yeah. But through that, I found myself, I get to connect with exactly what my soul knew it's here to express. And because of that, we are having this conversation.
Wow, that's big.
Yeah.
As a result, what do you do now?
Like I said, I'm a Freedom Illuminator, human MRI psychic surgeon. That is, I connect with people. And when I connect with people, I get to connect to their energetic field. It's more like I step into their aura and I get to know what is going on mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. So I get to know if at all there is pain somewhere, whatever that is going on, whether it's coming from ancestral or the mother, the father, like all those things I get to, it's more like I'm being you when I work with you. And I get to know where the blocks are and all that. So that is like the gift that I was born with, and I would say I come from a lineage of healers who most of them ran away from these gifts for eons. They denied who they were. And no wonder there was so much pain and all the emotional turmoil that I was born in. And someone had to raise their hand and say, it stops with me. And I'm that person.
Stops with me.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
What about you, Raquel?
Sure. Yep. Okay. Yep.
Stops
Yep.
with you?
Stops with me. Stops
Right.
with me. I'm trying.
Yes.
I'm trying. It's taking some effort, man. How do you, and maybe this is a very superficial or silly question, but how long does it take you to feel someone's aura or to feel that there are blockages? Is that something that's immediate upon meeting someone, or does it take continued exposure to this person? That's probably the wrong word, but continued interaction with this person.
It depends. Let me say immediately, it depends, you know, in the sense
Mhm.
of some people are walking around with their bodies literally screaming, with their inner children literally screaming, you know,
Mhm.
and whether you send me like just a chat, Facebook messenger, you write something, whatever, from there, instead of responding to whatever that you're talking about, for me, I'm like stuck with this pain and I'm like, I can't talk about that. Let's talk about this that is here. And this is what I normally say. When you slide into my DM, I don't know what is going to come through because you would have entered my private space. That's just how it is. And at times, like with one guy, I posted something and he was just commenting in my whatever that I posted. And just with that, when I was responding to him, that imprinted on me, you know, and actually at first I was not like fully present, I was just responding. But then afterwards, I wanted to go and exercise, but I couldn't, you know, because this pain on my hip was like serious. So I was just like, what the heck is going on? So I went back. Who was I talking to? Rewind and then go back there. A lot of people that I responded to. And then I had to like now zoom in who is holding into this pain. When I reached out, it's like, oh my God, I've been to doctors, I tried everything. I don't know what the hell is going on, but it's just too much, you know. So it's
Yeah.
things like that. Yeah.
You said that your lineage is African ancient quantum medicine. What does that mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the methodology that I use in the sense of, for instance, let me say when you connect with whatever healers that are out there, they will just tell you, oh, that's that. For instance, basically when I say it's like I become you,
Uh-huh.
I heal through my body. It's more
Mhm.
like I pull whatever and then release whatever that needs to be released and clear that. When I work with you and you are coming with excruciating pain, one thing that I can tell you is that after that session, that pain will be gone. And when I started, I was not really an expert in releasing it. So I was holding in this pain longer. You know, that's how it's dangerous at the same time. But on the other hand, this is the way we do the healing. This is how my ancestors did the healing. So this is the gift that I was born with. It's not about, like some people will say what they say, but on the other hand, this is how I do my work and I've embraced it as it is. It's not normal for other people, but this is normal for my ancestors. So this is the methodology that I use. I do the work through my body. Like
Mhm.
way back, traditional healers did the work. That's how I do it.
What happens when somebody starts working with you? Like what does that look like? And I'm sure it's going to be a little bit different for everybody, but say like the first meeting with you, when somebody says, hey, I've got such and such going on and I want to achieve X, Y, and Z, but I don't know how to get there. So then how do things start?
Quite interesting because I'm having an interference. They start differently. It's quite interesting. Do you mind if I share what is coming through?
Sure.
Please share.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's quite interesting because you are speaking, but then like what is coming through is kind of like, I can't say it's pain, but there is something that is coming through on your left side. And normally this comes through when it's kind of like when there has been a lot of noise. And at times it's not just like noise, at times it can be whether it's your caretaker, your mother, like the female that has been more influential in your life. Kind of like instead of you thinking your own thoughts as Raquel,
Mhm.
your thoughts are and who you are is influenced by this female aspect. So this is like what is coming through right now as you
Okay.
speak. So it's things like that where you see, I'm starting to scratch my throat. And this is because it's kind of like the two goes together. This is what is coming through. It affects how you speak your truth because it's kind of like you're speaking your truth based on whoever who was more influential and loud in your life. You understand? So
Yeah.
it's different things when you say how does it look like? It depends on what is it that needs attention mostly, because at times when people, whether you got some information or whatever, and you think this is the problem, that may not be the problem. The same thing, like right now I'm speaking about this thing that is coming through. If I follow that, I may not just end at the throat. You see, I'm talking about the ear, and then I'm
Yeah.
going to the throat. If I'm working with you, it's more like we mapping something, and it's always exciting because I can start with the ear, and by the end of the day, we may be in your womb or somewhere. So it's like it's one of those things. It's quite interesting, I would say. For me, I'm always curious, and it's quite interesting because someone may be coming through with something that is like depressing or like some illness. The doctor said this and all that. I'm always excited. I'm excited because it's kind of like, what are we going to find out at the end of this? So it's more like we're just going to map it through and see where it's coming from. What is the core of it? Did it really belong with you, your parents, or is it ancestors? So that's just like what happens, because at times it's not even about this lifetime. It's things that happen in prior lifetimes, in many generations ago and all that. So it's quite interesting. That's all I can say. Yeah, but what I can say is that the first session is often, I would say, a little bit heavy on the body, in the sense of when I'm saying psychic surgery, it's really that, because if at all you've been operating from, maybe there's been an interference or an attachment that has been feeding into your energy, and you are used to functioning with it, and that is released, or whatever that I do in the body. And then from there, it's kind of like your body's trying to find itself. Who am I now as Raquel without this aspect, right? So, so when there's a lot of the throat that needs to open, that needs to open here. So when that aspect is moved, or whatever that we work on, the body's kind of like trying to get to know who am I? And then at times it's like, at first you may feel a bit tired because at times you've been carrying a lot that is not even yours. So you may feel a bit tired. So you need a bit of time for you to start nurturing yourself, listening to your body. This is why I'm big on us listening to the body rather than just chasing whatever and all that, because the body's magic, right?
Is all that, is that Raquel's stuff that you're feeling?
That's where it started. And I don't even think it's only, as much as it's coming through with her, but I think it's also expanded to a lot of people who are going to listen to this, because often, like I'm speaking to you. Remember when you started, I also extended it to the audience. So
Yes.
who's there to say who needs this, who needs to open up and really speak the truth that is coming from within them, rather than the influence that is coming from an external source or caretaker or whatever. So it's
Yes.
and even when I'm doing this right now, I'm doing this because there is energy that I'm transmitting. There's no how I can sort of like get to know what is happening without moving a little bit of something,
You talk about breaking bonds and liberating ourselves from generational trauma. Is that part of what you're doing right now?
Absolutely. This is why we started with, there is here an aspect, and at times I may speak about an aspect, maybe somebody who was like that. And the truth of it is, like, people give us what they have, they give us what they were given, right?
Of course.
That particular person, like the energy that is coming through is like the feminine energy. And it can be the mother, stepmother, whoever who was like a caretaker, or even at times it can extend, this is like a huge one, where even us as women, we have this thing of taking other women down. And at times we can experience it at home with the caretaker or the mother. And then other women also have that thing of, who the fuck does she think she is? When it's kind of like women have this thing of pulling you down. That is like a big wound. And it's also patriarchal wound, because the women to be against another woman is also trying to sort of like take space in a man's world, and they're doing it because they've been told this is how a woman is. This is why we judge ourselves and judge others, because we're still looking at what has been defined for us and who a woman is and how she should be, how she should speak, dress up, and all the shit.
I like it. All that shit. That's right.
Yep, all that shit.
That's
all
right.
of it.
Let me ask you, on your website and in a lot of the stuff you put on Facebook, by the way, listeners, try and find the Facebook. We'll put it in the link because there's such good, I have been really enjoying following your Facebook. Lots of really good information. But one of the things I'm really interested in is the role of sexual alchemy in personal transformation. I have trouble with words, so I got that one out. Okay.
You did good.
Yes, yes. This is like magic. And it's quite interesting because today I came across a picture in Facebook. I don't think I saved it, but it was like an open mouth of a snake. And somebody said, and it used in the picture, like within it looks like just a vagina, you know, like that's how it looked like. And somebody said, "Oh, this really makes sense." And I just looked at it as like, yeah, it does. You know, so it takes us back to what we've been conditioned to believe when it comes to sexual energy, like for us to be ashamed of it, for us not to embrace it. You know, we love sex, but we don't like it. We are ashamed of it. And sexual energy is connected to, it's a secretion energy. It multiplies whatever that we focus it to, right? And it's connected to the depth of our self-acceptance because it's the energy that runs through us, whether they call it ki, chi, kundalini, is that energy. Like before you fully awaken, it's like still that spiral, it is there, the root, but when you awaken, then yeah. So it's that. And with the cultural conditioning, societal conditioning, religious conditioning, political conditioning, because everybody is telling us who we are, how to feel, how to connect to the sexual energy, how to connect to our body and all that, but not ourselves. So these are the things that disconnected us from ourselves. And when you look at it again, sexual energy, it's pleasure, right? It's pleasure, it's creativity. It's like I said, it's connected to our money, it's connected to our purpose. When you say yes to yourself, it's the energy that even when you're talking about taking a breath, because it's still connected to that. You can't be making love and not be taking a breath. When you see something beautiful that you really love, because it's connected to the beauty as well, you take a breath. It took my breath away. Where is that coming from? Because there is just this admiration. When you are being pulled by this energy, there is a desire, something, like you said, you were called to do something and you gave birth to something. It's not like giving birth only when you give birth to children. It's giving birth to the desire when you allow this energy to pull us. We are being pulled by something greater than us, and we give birth to that. And one thing that I say is you can't give birth to anything if you have not conceived it. I have never seen a woman who has not conceived a child and give birth to a child, right? And for you to give birth to your desire, you get also conceive it, you get to feel it within your body. That's also the accelerator of any creation. It's not only the visualization and affirmation. That's like, yeah, this is what many people are affirming, but nothing is happening. But when you feel it, you are one with it, you're making love with it. And I truly believe we are here to make love with life.
Beautiful. On your website, you said, many women experience daily trauma because they feel pressure to have sex to gain love, believing their sexual energy is only there for serving men or procreation. This disconnection can lead to depression or even suicidal thoughts. Are you finding that in the women that you're serving?
Absolutely. I don't know, the word that is just like coming to mind is kind of like it's a disaster, but that's just what it is, you know, because, and it's quite interesting, especially when it comes to entrepreneurs. Often many women will come through like, everything was just fine with my business and everything. But somehow since I met this guy, things changed. And yeah, what do you think happened right there? Right. We meet, it's kind of like it's more like, I would say, for lack of a better word, I'm feeling like garbage bins or whatever is the right thing, where men have been, like I said, patriarchy made men powerless by shutting off their hearts.
Yeah, agreed.
Absolutely.
Of their
Absolutely.
womb, you know. And what does men do for them to be able to deal with the suppressed and repressed emotions? They want to have sex. And they're having sex because they want to
do
all of that within you, right? We want to release it in you. And because our as women, our sexual organs are inside. So they are just gonna grasp into whatever that they're coming through. And people have this thing, I mean, I was that person as well, always kind of like, oh, makeup sex is good because all the emotions and all that. And the question is, when you're angry in that moment, what is somebody really depositing in you? We never think about things. Even men are always watching them. When you are making love with somebody, where's your heart? What is it that you really want them to feel? You know, whether it's the words that you say, but most importantly, it's also being intentional. You know, when you send in that message to your sexual organ, what is it that you're sending and depositing this person? Because it all comes back, right? We give from here, but men, like, they kind of like give from their sexual organ. So whatever in your woman, whether it's your wife or your lover or whatever, they're still gonna give it back to you. People say, what are you bringing to the table and all that? That's kind of like a bullshit question, because on the other hand, bringing to the table is bigger than just someone who is working and all that. Actually, somebody who's holding the energy that is expansive and can keep space for you as a man as well to give birth to your desires, and also for her to give birth to hers. It's more valuable than somebody who can just bring money, you know, because that person is kind of like sauce, you know. There's a lot that comes here, you know, but the question is, who are you sharing that with?
Well, it's an energy exchange.
It is.
You know, be careful whose energy you let in
penetrate
your orbit and inside you.
Penetrate you.
That you let penetrate you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because even when you look at, I mean, there's a lot that is going on. We see it with what is going on around the world, how sexual energy is being used, like, for really dark rituals and all that. Sexual energy is a big currency. It's way more valuable than any money can buy. For me, it was I'm more familiar with being in relationship with people who are more alcoholic. That means our vibration is lower. They are open to negative entities. That was the relationships that I was in. But on the other hand, when I'm measuring with them, like, even when you're having an orgasm, it's kind of like you experience a temporary death. What is happening at that moment? You know, what is penetrating you? So if you are with somebody who is like a portal for negative energy, what is happening? And if you are with somebody who is like a perpetual cheater and all that, they are sleeping with whoever, and you are sleeping with the people that they're sleeping with. Because at times we move on. I've moved on, like, that was 10 years ago, whatever. But on the other hand, there are still cords, sexual cords that are still linking us, because you merge energy. And that means when you've moved on, you kind of like going on with your life and all that, but that person is still feeding into your energy. And at times, even when somebody is like thinking about you, but more negatively and calling you names or being disgusted with you, whatever, you can feel it like it's you, but it's not you, it's somebody else. You know, but you're not going to be aware where that is coming from. You thinking that, oh, I'm just this piece of shit and all that. But that's what your ex may be saying about you. So clearing our energy and disconnecting from this is it's very vital.
How does a person, especially a woman, who's walking away from, especially a man who may be toxic, and I'm not saying it doesn't go the other way, because it does sometimes. How does a woman clear her energy from the past to like, let's say I have an ex out there who's thinking bad thoughts about me. How do I make sure that doesn't affect my energy?
Or if you're still carrying the bad energy from that ex.
Oh no, I'm not carrying that. I just don't want his thoughts out there affecting me.
Ah, there you go.
But it's still possible that the reason why that affects you is because there is something that you're carrying that belongs to him and vice versa. Here's the thing, because is there something that you're carrying within you that belongs to them? Of course. And we don't realize, when I am worried about somebody, like I said, my energy before was used to rescue broken people, you know, because I was not using it to where it was, like, the people who appreciate and are open for it, right? I'm worried about somebody being an alcoholic. And I feel like I become this god in that life, you know, feel like I have to save them and all that. And I'm extending my energy, I'm flowing in them, and I'm taking something from them because I want to rescue them so bad. You have to lock that in. And you have something that belongs to them. And at times when they're coming through and being assholes, it's just that, because there is something of them theirs that you're still holding into. So it's easy for me to say, oh, just cut the cords.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, same.
It's not always the best thing, because here's the thing. you meet with somebody because you see a part of you in them. You meet people for a reason. It's not like just meeting people. So at a soul level, there is the marriage, not like the marriage that we have here in the physical world. There's soul marriage where your soul connects deeper, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you come through because there are some files that you are meant to share. You have to give him his files. He has to give you your files. And it depends on how you want to work through that. And at times you get married.
Take your files
Yeah.
back.
And after
Take them back.
Take that shit back, man.
There you go.
Here's your shit.
so you get those files, he gets his, and those are times when the relationship at times is like, now it's not working because you have exchanged your files. And what happens, the easiest thing when somebody like things have not worked out, we often, like, whether it's cutting cords, I'm just gonna cut the cords, or you just angry with this person, you cut the cords from that anger, that person will go to hell because they treated me like whatever and all. Guess what?
The cord grows right back.
The aspect of yourself that you saw in that person is sitting close to that person in that hell that you built. Whether it's like in the dark cave, wherever that you've closed that person and throw away the key because you don't want anything to do with those people, you're sitting there with them. So it's bigger than just, I'm gonna cut the cords, because at times you can cut the cords over and over, but the shit gets even more crazier. And you're like, what the fuck is going on? I'm cutting the cords because you are also catching yourself. You are also closing yourself away with that person. But the most important thing is release whatever that belongs to them, take whatever that belongs to you, integrate that. I know there are healers out there who are healers just because maybe they can see whether it's psychic, intuitive, and clairvoyance and all that, but they have not done the work. And consciousness is everything, because the level that your gift can be useful is the level that your consciousness is. That is, if at all you just viewing things from the 3D perspective, then it's still limited, right? So when you have like the highest consciousness where you can see beyond the 3D, where like the cost of it, because there is nothing that happens just for nothing. There is a reason behind, and at times it doesn't even belong with whoever that is coming through. It's kind of like the messenger who's coming through to say, I'm being sent to give you this, especially when it comes to things like cases. So when you're just cutting cords, like I'm cutting cords like here in 2024, hello, that thing has been here there for generations. Your mother went through that, your great-grandmother, and all that. It's like a shit that has been, so you're not doing anything because the roots are there. Everything's gonna blossom again. When I say I'm doing the work, I always go to the core of the issue, because otherwise I'm not doing anything.
Yep, it'll just grow right back.
Yeah.
Yep. Can you share with us a story of maybe one of your clients that you've worked with? Have you had a success that you like to talk about?
There is a lot, but before I can go there, what is like coming through, it's a story of this other lady I was working with. Actually, I'm still working with her. But when she came through, for her, it was like, I'm just in this fucking toxic relationship and I'm just tired and whatever. And just like the first session, I was just like, you are just a fucking magical healer. Like, she is flipping gifted. And because she was so absorbed with the toxicity, managing who is calling, who is not, and so, and I'm like, look at this. But on the other hand, because of the whole fear and everything, it was limited. But the magic that comes through, like, where I'm just kind of like glad, it's also with her daughter, because it's kind of like when she just mentioned her daughter, like a lot of pain and a lot of stuff came through. And there was also a lot of negative energy in the sense of, you've heard about spiritual wife, spiritual husband, where they're like this energetic beings that are sleeping with you and all that. So this was happening to her daughter. I worked with her daughter and we cleared that, but we went to the court to find out what is happening here. And it was quite interesting because when we just started doing the work, it felt like she saw her daughter with this thing, and then came her, and then her mom is passed. So went to her mom, who's at the grave, and then the grandmother and all that. And I was just laughed at this because back home, at times people have this thing of, they'll just say, oh, your mother has a problem with you. Your mother is interfering with your life. Your mother is doing this to you and some shit like that. And then you start having this conflict with your parents because it's limited, right? They're not able to see beyond. But we went across this lifetime and other lifetimes and cleared where this curse is coming from. And for that, it was like what blew her mind was how important her role is as a mother, not just to provide physically, like money, whatever, and all that, like how to be present enough, even be a spiritual guardian for her daughter. So that was like magical and mind-blowing even for her. And I have another one as well who came to me. For her, it was like she had a problem with endometriosis and low blood and all that. And yeah, when she came to me, she had surgery already scheduled, but she was in extreme pain. And within 4 weeks, she went back to her doctor and all that was gone, like everything back to normal. I have another case with somebody who she was married, like lovely, lovely marriage, but the problem was just in her job. She lost her job 7 years ago, and she was still holding into the pain that, oh, I worked so hard, all these qualifications, all these experiences for nothing. Now there is nothing for me, and that was affecting her marriage as well. But when we worked together after 12 weeks, trust me, she didn't apply. And there's like the last healing session that we did, and she's like, somebody called her husband and said, "Oh, we need somebody who's got this experience." And she's like, "Oh, my wife can do that." Okay, ask your wife then to send the CV. She didn't update her CV or anything. She sent it as it is, and then she was called for a meeting. They had lunch, and they said, "Okay, we would like to have you on board, but we don't want you as an employee, but as a consultant." And that's just how it happened, because she also didn't want to come back as an employee, but as a consultant, and that's just how she got her job. And with her marriage was okay. And okay can be the enemy of greatness. I want to emphasize that. She was not fully open. Her husband had lots of insecurity issues because she never really opened up to show her husband that she loves her. And the core issue was, if I love you and you know that I flipping love you, you're gonna treat me like my father treated my mother. And her issue with the money and even losing a job was still the father issue, where she felt like the father was the breadwinner and he felt like he can control everybody, just like being a piece of shit. So he went like, "I'm gonna give you a middle finger with your money." That it affected her as well. And there were also a lot of like molestation when she was a child, which in this case she was not penetrated, but she was touched only by someone from the family and all that. But because a lot of women around, or girls around her when she was growing up, were actually raped, she felt like, okay, it's like a small thing, but somehow it still affected her. So we cleared all of those things. And another thing as well, which is like very, very important, because her mother was abused, she was kind of like the protector of her mom. She's going to step in and protect her mother from her father. And what did she do? She took all her mother's issues. But after her mother died, that's when she realizes like her legs are getting swollen, like all these issues that her mother had. This is what she kept, and she was creating her life from that.
Sounds like a lot of childhood work, a lot of working on those little internal girl pieces.
Yeah.
You said something really interesting in there. You said, okay can be the enemy of greatness. Do you want to expand on that a little bit?
Okay is not enough. It's just the same thing as hope. We need hope when we are beaten down. It's kind of like I'm just waiting for something like it's just for me to take another step. We need hope. It's okay. But there is a moment when you know that the queen in you wants to thrive.
With
and
a queen.
Exactly, and if you just like being okay with, which is the mediocre, the normal, it's what happened to everybody. We all went through it and all that. It's you recognizing that you are not everybody, you are extraordinary, and embracing that you are not normal. You are not here to be normal. Normal is what served our ancestors and everybody else. And they didn't go through all that shit for you to come here and be normal. They didn't go through all that shit for you to come and play small. They didn't go through that shit for you to settle, because when you settle, you receive less than you settle for.
I'm hearing all this, and I'm hearing all of I think this is a two-part question, or maybe just two separate questions. One question is, how do you go back however many generations and figure out what that thing is that you're carrying that you need to let go of, that's been sort of brought forth from like past generations, whether it's your mom or your grandma or your great grandma, because a lot of people aren't lucky enough to know their grands and their great grands and can talk, or even if they do know them, they may not tell. You know, they may not talk about these things. And then my second question is, how do you move through life and protect your energy without being shut off from people and shut off from life?
Good questions.
Good questions, yeah. And I love it. Like you said, I love that you said not many really speak. A lot of parents, they never really shared. They wanted to show us the nice, you know, but everything is fine. But then you don't know what is happening when the room is closed. But the thing is, everything is energy. Before I open the door, my energy is saying hi, right? And that's exactly what is happening even in the body. There's a lot that is coming through, but because when I spoke about what I spoke about earlier, but right now, as you ask me another question, what is coming through is kind of, I'm just going to the ancestral lineage, especially on the masculine side. It doesn't matter whether you knew them or you didn't. The whole thing is, this is in your imprints, body imprints, soul imprints is what you carry. There's a reason why you were born into that. Whether you knew their name or you didn't, it's within you. That's the magic of this work. Like there's kind of like information that is just gonna come through with a lot of things, and like this is the core, because everything that we want, whether you're talking about wanting a relationship, wanting money, wanting whatever that you want, when we go in to say, let's go in, you want that, now you get to connect with you having that. The body's gonna bubble up and say no, yes, no, yes, whatever that is coming through, your body will show. This is where I'm holding something here. And when you go through it, it will take us wherever that it takes us. Sometimes it's a zigzag, whatever. If we're in a program, that means we're going to work on something like the way I've organized my program. There is inner child work, sexual work, and ancestral work and all that. In this 12 weeks, there's a lot that we go through. So there's a lot that comes through because there's a lot of tracing and all that. And also you open up, you're going to know some of the things because it works even beyond us being together. And I hope that answers the question about how you get to know what is here, because the body's holding this imprints, and these are the imprints that are interfering with whatever that you're creating. It's more like, imagine you have a programmer that tells people, just maybe sleep with her and let her have a child and then you go, or don't affirm who she is. She thinks that she's something, treat her like a piece of crap, whatever that is. We see parents playing out where it's kind of like, I met Tom, I met Jerry, I met whoever, but they also, it's kind of like one person. What is happening, or even your sisters or other siblings experience that. So it's like there's a programmer within you. This is where, even when it comes to cases, it's like when you meet somebody, they become possessed by something. They have made treated other women like they treat you, but for you, it's kind of like this is how they get to treat you, like something just triggers within them. That's how deep this thing is. You mentioned, the question was, how do you protect yourself from the world and sort of affected by other people's energy and all that?
Right.
It's a good question, but on the other hand, what I know to be true is that when, like, who I was when I was like vibrating from all the fear and all that, I was like attracting all of that. I was kind of like the magnetizer and all that, because that's what the vibration was. This is why when I left my boyfriend, or who like took me to court and everything with his girlfriend, harsh sister-in-law, like the whole, yeah. And then from there, I attracted my lovely husband, and somebody was coming from Europe, and it's kind of like, oh my God, where the heck have you been and all that. And then while I'm in it, I'm realizing, oh shit. Same person, just different names.
Yep.
That's where I was.
That's my life.
Yeah, let's say heal first before you go into that, because I went through that. I experienced it. I'm not just talking from theory that I read from the book. When I was going through my divorce and I was flipping angry with this man, I'm like, why can't he just change? Like, I'm kind of like, I can just shake him and then something comes up. And I'm sitting in a meditation. The first question is like, what part of you has a problem with is drinking? And my first response is like, what the fuck you talking about? Because alcohol. And then, but as soon as I'm rolling my eyes, I'm just getting this download, but just a lot of stuff, and when you look at it, even when it comes back to the human perspective, there is this, we're talking about narcissists, especially when it comes to relationship, but we all have our own narcissism here and there, where you're feeling better than. So I realized that there's a part of me that feels like, I'm spiritual. So it's kind of like I'm better than him. He's just an alcoholic. And a part of me wishes like, why can't he just accept me and what I'm here to do? Am I accepting him? Hell no. And another big question was like that part, what part of me has a problem with his drinking? I just got this download, connected with my father, his alcoholism, the little girl wanting to save his father. So I was looking for father-like man, because even when I met them and I saw that brokenness deep within me, it's kind of like, if I can save you, daddy, maybe.
Yep. Second chance.
Yeah. Because at the core of my being.
Second chance. I can do it this time.
Yeah. I know people love to say this. I'm daddy's girl. I'm mommy's girl. My daddy loved me. That man loved me. It doesn't matter what was happening. Even when he was sick, he would say, I want to see my child because maybe this is the last moment. But at the end of the day, what kind of love did I know as a child? Emotionally unavailable, maybe giving me something material and all that, and also a man that I'm afraid of at the same time, even though he loves me because he was never open. So I was attracting my father in relationship. That was the vibration that I'm at. When you release that and you vibration at a different level, you attract where you are at. We attract who we are, whether we want to accept it or not. That's the flipping truth. What is within is reflected by the external. So when you look at the outside instead of blaming who and whatever who's out there, it's kind of like looking at yourself in the mirror. And that is what you do. Are you gonna go and kind of like try to paint something on the mirror, or you're gonna, come back to myself like, okay, fine. The people that I work with is more intelligent people, very intelligent, and then, like I said, high achievers and all that. So the question that I often get is like, what's the point of going there? Like when you're talking about whether it's like mother wound, father wound, stuff like that. I don't see a point. This is what I want. I don't know why you have to take me there. But you are that. Because what I've realized is that at times, because you hate how somebody treated you, how they were not there for you, whether it's a mother or whatever, you not only deny their negative traits, you also hate their beautiful traits. You don't want to accept it because it's them.
What else did you want to tell our audience that we didn't give you the chance to tell?
The most important thing here is the action that you take is what is going to change things. There is a lot of information. And when you go to my website, YouTube, whatever, you find a lot of information. But information is not transformation. So for me, I would say first thing, book a call. You don't lose anything. If you are committed to yourself, if you love yourself that much, let's have a conversation and see what's blocking, because I've seen great things happen. If you're interested, like I'm just interested, because there's a difference with being interested and committed. So if maybe the best thing is to go to my website and just book a call. If you are committed, let's jump on the call and see what is blocking you. And here's the thing, when I'm talking about interested and committed, you can meet a guy who just like finds you attractive and they're just interested. They're not committed to you.
Yep.
They want to sleep with you. They want to, and then they're out. Yep. And it comes also back to us. Where am I doing that to myself? And at times you know what is happening, but you are not willing to look at yourself and say, what is my responsibility in this thing here? Something that I live by. The level that you are fully free is the level that you are fully joyful. And that is the level that you are fully loving. So stop all the bullshit and lie to yourself and trying to cover up and all lies. Are you really free? Because even when it comes to your friends, when it comes to your relationships, you know how free you are. And that tells you your people. At times it can be even family. We like to decorate this thing about family. Sometimes our family is just like a portal for us to be here, but it doesn't mean that they're meant to accept us. We are meant to accept ourselves and find our tribe, So that's like what I'm gonna live with you. Sometimes you don't wanna, at times even healing, we don't wanna heal because somehow we feel like we're gonna lose the connection that we have with the people that we long for the most. Are we losing ourselves? And what's the point of abandoning yourself at your expense, like you're trying to hold into something, but at the same time, you've lost yourself along the way. And people won't love you even when you're afraid of, if I say this or if I'm this kind of person, people won't love you. They don't love you after all, right? They love your fake self. And you also attract fake people. Fake people, because you're being fake. So it's like when I choose to be myself, it becomes a filter. People are going to be here who are meant to be here, and those who are not meant to be here, they will leave. And for me, that's freedom.
Freedom. Sometimes I break into song. It's just what I do.
It's awesome.
It is awesome. I love it.
I mean, what's better than freedom?
Right?
That's the thing. Freedom to be yourself. And I mean, my life is an example. I went through being separated from my children for 5 flipping years. I went through going through divorce and being separated from my little daughter again, from a different person. And that was like a way of trying to say, who the fuck do you think you are? And what a powerful way for someone to use your child. Because for me, I felt like they attacked my womb.
Of course.
So if I was any other woman, I would have just been on my knee, crawling back, okay, whatever, as long as I can be with my children. But I chose to go through that pain because my ancestors did not go through that shit for nothing. My mom did not go through that shit for nothing.
I love that. My ancestors did not go through that shit for nothing.
I love that. Yeah, that hits.
That does hit. That does hit.
Yeah.
We have such a strong lineage of women behind us. Some men too, but I've chosen to focus on the women today.
Yeah. Yeah.
We play small when it comes to the gift and the magic that we have within us. And going back to the sexual energy, when you're talking about magic, this is what we're conditioned to believe. Who you are as a woman is a mistake, it's a sin, right? You are always deceptive and all that. And what that is the magic that is within us. What is possible when we as women embody the power that is within us and allow the magic to express itself. When you're talking about sexual energy, I'm telling you, there was a time when I connected to this magic. And after that, I was like, I understand why patriarchy had to suppress and repress that.
Yep.
It's powerful.
Oh my God.
We need more.
That, it's unstoppable, baby. When we see a woman who takes her place, the easiest way is for us to sort of like put them down, judge them, and call them bitches and everything. But
no, I see women like that, and I'm like, man, how can I get what she's got? How can I get there? I want to be that.
That's the message. Before I evolved into who I am, I know that I used to see that was like my shadow. I always say you are a queen, but you may be the queen that is playing the shadow. They're still queens, but because they have not embodied and embraced who they are, they're still playing the shadows. Where you see somebody, because I was a queen, but still at times when I see a woman like taking it, she's arrogant. Because I was also afraid of being arrogant when I allow myself to be seen in that. Because I was told that I was arrogant since I was a child. So the only way that I get to deal with the judgment and the condition that was placed on me, this was by projecting it to other women. But after I healed my own wounds, I'm turned on by a woman taking her space, baby. When she walks, you can feel it like, oh my God, right?
Yeah,
wow.
More of that. More of that, people.
Oh, God, absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you so much. What a great conversation.
Val, thank you so much. That was a whole word right there. All that. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. That is it. Like a perfect place, Madness Cafe. We can only bring the madness, right? Like the orgasmic madness,
Oh, I like that. Orgasmic madness.
There you go. There you go. I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for spending time with us today.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Wishing you all and your magical audience a wonderful and orgasmic bliss in every single moment, in every moment of creation.
I received that. Thank you.
Recap, Raquel?
Yeah. So powerful. We touched on it toward the end of we see these powerful women and women who are fully in their power and glory, and we're like, yeah, I want that. I want more of that. How can I get that? How can I get there? That's absolutely true. But I can remember being in a place where that was intimidating to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I don't know how to handle that. What do I do with that? I don't know how to be in the same space with this person.
Yeah, I can also remember a time of criticizing other women. Oh, who
Mhm,
does she think she is to be wearing an outfit like that? Oh,
mhm,
where does she get off speaking her mind to the public?
mhm,
How does she think she gets to be so big and bold and beautiful and awesome? I remember many times not feeling comfortable with women in their own power and beauty,
mhm, mhm.
but not anymore.
No, definitely not. And Gao is one of those women, right? She is fully standing in and possessing and expressing her power and greatness and feminine energy and sexual energy and just realizing that sexual energy isn't just about sex.
Oh no, it's about creation.
Right, right. And but we've been or I'll just speak for myself.
No, we,
I've yeah,
all
okay,
of
okay.
us,
We have been
all
conditioned
of us, all
to
of
think of
us,
sexual energy as just sex and just about
pleasing a man
right,
or
right.
even ourselves to some
But
degree,
but that pleasing ourselves is bad.
or
And
that pleasing ourselves we do because it pleases the man.
right, right, right. And we're not connecting with that creative energy and we're cutting off that part of ourselves. I just keep thinking like of the women that came before us, how much was cut off? What were they not allowed to access of themselves?
Everything.
Yeah. And that's part of what's coming forth that's being expressed now in us.
I took some notes while she was talking. I don't usually
Mhm,
do this. I don't know why I did, but here we go. She said, I wore the mask. Okay can be the enemy of greatness.
mhm.
Same person, different name. The queen in you wants to rise, give birth to desire.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
pleasure. Say yes to yourself.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I wrote a few things down too. Go to the core of the issue. Spiritual guardian.
Ooh, I like that one.
And when she said that, I was like, who is my spiritual guardian? And can I be my own spiritual guardian? And how do I learn to become my own spiritual guardian and actually be that for myself and not or how can I unlearn everything that I need to unlearn so that I can be a true spiritual guardian for myself?
Ooh, ooh, ooh. I think I know.
Okay.
Keep asking questions.
Yes. Keep asking questions.
Keep going towards that which you desire.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Absolutely.
Follow the call. Follow
Yeah.
what you're called to.
Yeah.
Keep following the call.
Right. And I also wrote
And have
down
some sex, Raquel.
well, okay. Well, that's kind of low on the list of priorities right now, but anyway. And she talked about being interested versus committed. And I know she was talking about it in terms of relationships, but I heard it as far as in relationship to me.
I think she meant both ways.
Okay, okay.
I think you heard
Um,
it exactly right.
okay. And so I was thinking, in some ways, yes, I'm very committed to me. But there are other ways, and I'm sure I'm not the only person, but in
I'm
other ways, I'm only interested in me.
ding, ding, ding. I think this rings a bell for everybody on some level. Ding, ding,
Mhm.
ding. Of course,
Mhm.
Raquel. And how
Mhm.
brave of you to be the mirror for everyone else who's listening on this podcast. How brave of you to be that mirror for all of us. Yes,
Thank
of
you.
course. We're all sometimes only interested in ourselves, but not committed.
Yeah.
And how can we become more committed to our most beloved, which is ourselves?
Right. And like you said, by keep asking questions. Keep asking questions of ourselves. Like how many times have we gone on dates or dated men who or dated whoever, dated partners who didn't ask us questions about ourselves, right? They were not committed. we have to keep asking questions of ourselves so that we can become more committed to ourselves.
I think we can end right there.
Mhm. Thanks everyone for listening today. We will be back with more Madness Cafe next week. You can find us on Instagram at Madness Cafe Podcast or email us at madnesscafepodcast@gmail.com. Bye.